What made John Wesley Hardin so dangerous? A man who claimed to have killed over 40 people, feared by lawmen and outlaws alike. But was he truly the deadliest gunslinger in the Wild West? Or just another victim of the violent world he was born into? And stay tuned to find out how he met his end. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe to our channel. It's free, and you'll never miss an episode. John Wesley Hardin was born in 1853 in Bonham, Texas, the son of a strict Methodist preacher. His father, a highly religious and disciplined man, believed in moral teachings and education. Hardin grew up in a household where strict rules and the Bible dictated daily life. But Texas, after the Civil War, was a world of lawlessness, where justice was often decided with a six-shooter rather than the courts. While his father preached peace and righteousness, the world outside their home told a different story. From an early age, Hardin showed two traits that would define his life: intelligence and a dangerously short temper. He was bright, well-read, and quick-witted, but he was also fiercely independent, proud, and unwilling to back down from a challenge. He hated feeling weak, and if he felt slighted, he reacted with force. His first killing happened at just 15 years old. Hardin had challenged his uncle's former slave, Major Mage Holzhausen, to a wrestling match. Hardin won, but later that day, Holzhausen ambushed him, seeking revenge. Hardin responded with gunfire, shooting the man 5 times and killing him on the spot. Whether it was self-defense or just an excuse to kill, one thing was certain. Hardin had just taken his first step into a life of bloodshed. Knowing the authorities wouldn't take his side, he fled. But instead of lying low, he embraced the outlaw life. He moved from town to town, gambling, drinking, and getting into shootouts. By the time he was 17, he had already shot multiple men. Some of them may have been in self-defense, but others were simply the result of Hardin's explosive temper. He never let an insult go unanswered, and in the world of the Wild West, that meant a lot of people ended up dead. In 1871, Hardin made his way to Abilene, Kansas, one of the roughest cattle towns in the West. Here, he crossed paths with the legendary lawman Wild Bill Hickok. The two men recognized each other as dangerous, but for once, Hardin avoided trouble. Whether it was mutual respect or a rare moment of caution, he didn't challenge Hickok. But even without a showdown between the two, Hardin still left his mark on the town. One night, while staying in a hotel, he was kept awake by the sound of another guest snoring loudly in the next room. Frustrated and half-drunk, Hardin did the unthinkable. He fired his gun through the wall, killing the man instantly. Realizing he'd just made himself a wanted man once again, he fled town again, narrowly avoiding capture. Incidents like these fueled his reputation as a reckless killer, a man with no regard for life or consequences. As the years passed, his legend and his body count grew. Hardin became deeply involved in the brutal Sutton-Taylor feud, a long-running war between two rival Texas families. Aligning himself with the Taylor faction, Hardin gunned down members of the opposing side, adding more names to his long list of victims. He claimed he wasn't a murderer, just a man fighting for survival. But in truth, he seemed to thrive on violence. In one case, he shot a man dead simply for refusing to take back an insult. Another time, he reportedly killed a man just for looking at him the wrong way. Then came the moment that sealed his fate. In 1874, he shot and killed Deputy Sheriff Charles Webb in Brown County, Texas. This time, there was no escaping the consequences. Killing a fellow outlaw was one thing. Killing a lawman was another. The entire state turned against him, and his days as a free man were numbered. With a bounty on his head, Hardin fled to Florida, changing his name and staying in hiding for 3 years. But the law never stopped looking for him. In 1877, Texas Rangers finally caught up to him. As he boarded a train in Pensacola, Ranger John B. Armstrong stormed in, guns drawn. Hardin reached for his own revolver, but Armstrong was faster, knocking him out cold and dragging him into custody. His wild run was over. Back in Texas, Hardin was sentenced to 25 years in prison for the murder of Deputy Webb. He fought against his conviction, but for the first time in his life, there was no escape. Yet even behind bars, he refused to be broken. He spent his years in prison studying law, reading the Bible, and writing an autobiography where he painted himself as a misunderstood man forced into violence. After serving 17 years, he was released in 1894, now a free man. But the world had changed. The Wild West was fading, and gunslingers like Hardin were no longer feared. The days of duels in the streets were over. Hardin tried to start fresh in El Paso, Texas, working as a lawyer. But the old ways never left him. He began drinking, gambling, and making enemies once again. One of those enemies was lawman John Selman Sr. On August 19, 1895, Hardin was at the bar in the Acme Saloon. Selman crept up behind him and fired a single bullet into the back of his head. The legendary gunfighter was dead before he hit the floor, and so ended the life of one of the most feared men in the West. He had survived countless duels, shootouts, and manhunts, only to be killed in a saloon without ever seeing it coming. But was Hardin truly the Wild West's most dangerous man? Or could it have been the infamous Billy the Kid? Check out our video, What Made Billy the Kid So Dangerous?